October 28th. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next few hours, next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. And good morning, Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. For the next 3 hours, you can join the conversation by calling us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or Twitter.com, The Rev Al. Twitter.com, The Rev Al. Or you can go to our live stream and you can put a message up on the message board at live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Kennedy Marie Shabazz is already on the message board saying, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. God bless you, and I love you and appreciate you for keeping it real. Democracy.fund says, good morning, Ray of Light, Reverend Sharpton. The world needs to be blinded by your light even more than Manfred Mann's Earth Band blinded the international chairs. I like that one. Disco Brian. I think that a lot of people already plugging in. Let me tell you, so much is going on, and I really want you to weigh in. First and foremost, let me put first that the Hurricane Melissa that is approaching Jamaica is reported to have catastrophic winds and rain. They say this is the strongest Atlantic storm of the year, with winds at 175 miles per hour. It is 92 miles southwest of Kingston, which is the main capital of Jamaica. I've been there many times, and it's moving at 7 miles per hour and threatening a total structural failure. Now, not only is the impact of the hurricane more than they've ever sustained in Jamaica or most of the Caribbean, it is moving slowly. And Cuba's been evacuating people. Haiti's affected. Pray for the people in Jamaica. And I'm intending today or tomorrow to visit the Consul General here in the UN to see which way we can help our brothers and sisters in Jamaica. Many Jamaican-born people live here in New York, and certainly reaching out to all in the community. But all of you around the country, pray for Jamaica. You know, we've got to do something about these fossil fuels, because a lot of what is the causing the voluminous impact of these hurricanes that have escalated in terms of size, in terms of impact, in terms of all, has been the fossil fuels. On top of that, here in the U.S., the GOP and Democrats face rising pressure on multiple fronts to end the bipartisan shutdown, they're saying. The union, the American Federation of Federal Employees is saying, open up the government. And we're facing now the second week federal employees will not get paid. Congress is not even, the House of Representatives is not even in Washington. The Speaker had them go to their home districts, do what they want to do. They're not negotiating. The president is in Asia, leaving Japan, headed to South Korea. So people are twisting in the wind. And some are saying maybe the Democrats ought to cave. Others are saying no, stand up to them. What do you say? I really want to hear some people from, and I know some members of Congress are listening. Do you think that the House of Representatives, Democrats led by Hakeem Jeffries, ought to blink and say, no, we don't want people to suffer another week. We'll compromise and open up the budget? Or do you think they should say, if we cave now, you will not negotiate with us to bring the premiums down? The premiums will go up Saturday with the Affordable Care, and you will have destroyed the Affordable Care, and millions of Americans will face higher premiums. There'll be no more Obamacare. We've got to hold a line to make sure that's in any budget we pay. So, interesting what you think. Should they cave or should they hold out for the health care? There's going to be some suffering. But if they cave, there's going to be some suffering, because about affordable health care be gone. So it's not an easy answer, but let's talk about it. 1-877-532-5797. Trump is threatening to send more of the National Guard into cities around his deploying of deporting people. And he also is saying he's sending federal monitors to California and New Jersey for next Tuesday's election. Now, that's interesting, because I asked yesterday, well, who's going to pay for the employees? If the federal government is closed, you can't pay federal workers. Who's going to pay the federal monitors to go and monitor the elections in California and in New Jersey? And they're state elections, by the way. They're not even federal elections. So this is clearly targeting blue states and trying to, in my opinion, intimidate people to help his Republican candidate in New Jersey and in California to not vote for the referendum that calls for redistricting, which at this point the polls are saying most people in California support what Governor Newsom's doing around redistricting. We also see that there is a real effort to try and forestall, in many ways, the moving forward of the Voting Rights Act. Section 2 is under the scrutiny now of the Supreme Court. We'll see where that goes. And lastly, I had to take a notice. They made a big controversy. Well, I'll deal with that. Let me not deal with that. Now I'll wait until we get to the last hour of this. Let me say that in terms of what is definitely going on, we are in the middle of a government shutdown. We're in the middle of 42 million people may lose their SNAP the end of this week. November 1st is Saturday. SNAP, the majority of them are not black folks, by the way. We're disproportionately there. But the majority, a lot of whites, a lot of farmers. A lot of companies are going to suffer from it. Walmart and others survive off of a lot of SNAP customers. And in the middle of all of this, Trump raises $300 million to build a ballroom in the White House. I mean, you could not make this up if you were his most severe critic. If there ever was a time that you would not be thinking about a ballroom, it's with this facing the American people. And we'll see. Dwayne Stanton Holmes says, I feel they still tight over that fact that Trump won again. Get over it and learn how to win elections again. Well, I think since Mr. Stanton Holmes says get over it, well, Trump never got over it when he lost in 2020. But if we talk about getting over something, I think they need to get over that the Affordable Care Act is law. And all the Democrats are doing is saying you're going to do what the law said do, that blacks, whites, Latinos, Asians, everybody benefit with health care. And Democrats and Republicans made the law. Don't forget, Senator John McCain cast one of the decisive votes, a leading Republican. So it is always humorous to me that people like Dwayne tell us to get over it, and they have not got over. Y'all lost the election in 2008, lost it in 2012. We made Affordable Care Act the law. So get over it. It's going to have to be respected, or they're not moving forward. So you should keep your own advice for yourself. Let's take a break. Come back. I'm going to open up the phones, 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
democracy, that's what it is. What Trump will erase, we will replace.
It's the dreamers in many cases have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
It's been a long time.
Some of you forget where you come. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there. And act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again. Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited. And you should be excited to turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9 and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized.
It's been a long time coming, but I know.
1968, Dr. Martin King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on. No just stand still. No just stand still. No just stand still. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom, let my people go, go. We never shine, never shade. Give me a papa glory, make the heavens. If you don't say you know I'm trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you
I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And I'm taking your calls. I really want to know what you think. A lot of the members of Congress listen to this show. Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, was on the show last Thursday, did the television show Friday. I know he listens, the staff listens. What do you say around the country? Should the Democrats cave in and let the government open and say we'll talk about health care in January, or should they hold the line and not cave in like they did last time and say, no, this one's on y'all. Y'all have the White House, the Senate, the House of Representatives, and even the Supreme Court, and y'all are going to deal with these premiums now, or we're not opening government. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Don't forget Politics Nation with Al Sharpton every Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I want you to tune in, particularly this week. I'm certainly going to deal with a lot of how we need to help our brothers and sisters in Jamaica. I'm going to deal with our government workers, whether they are still shut down or whether they've worked it out. I'll be having people in the Senate and the House there. I'll be dealing with the Saturday and Sunday before Election Day. So you really going to want to watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton this weekend at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. You in the New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally. It'll be the Saturday before the election, and I expect candidate there. And we also will be dealing with how we're going to help Jamaica. I want you absolutely to be in the house 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem. And then you that are not in the New York area can watch it live on Impact Television, the only black-owned national gospel network, television network station. All right, let's go to the phone. Let me start with Rick Johnson in Atlanta, Georgia. Rick, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. Rick,
Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Good afternoon,
yes.
Reverend Al.
Good afternoon.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
I wanted to give you a shout out and a happy birthday, belated birthday. I have been trying to reach you. I have not been able to successfully get in to the call to wish you a happy birthday and all that you do.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you and we love you, Reverend Al.
Well, I love you.
I want to respond to the government shutdown with the Democrats. The Democrats cannot afford to fall and negotiate without health care subsidies on the table. And the reason being, Reverend Al, is that Republicans take the Democratic Party as a joke. And the only thing this country has right now is the leverage for the Democrats to hold out. The Democrats, as we know, control the House, Senate, the White House, and basically the Supreme Court. So this fight is on the shoulders of the Republican and this failed president. And
Hello? Okay.
Republican.
Go ahead. You broke up a minute. I guess you had another call coming. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes. I was stating that we cannot afford to give in to the Republicans. They have the White House, the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. The Democrats, we got to stay firm on this fight. And I truly believe that at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to suffer, unfortunately. But we just got to help our brothers and sisters in this country to be able to eat, children to be able to eat. But at the same time, we cannot afford, as Democrats, to fold. We cannot. And unfortunately, Reverend Al, elections have consequences.
Right.
And the American people, unfortunately, they did this to themselves. They know darn well they shouldn't have took a chance with Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump is a con man. He has done a superb job on conning Americans to land him back in the White House that he don't give a rat's behind about. Giving Argentina all that money, American taxpayers' money, and don't even think enough to take care of American people. And talking about a third term, give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a break. This is laughable. But the joke, unfortunately, is on the American people.
Yeah.
They put him in there, Reverend Al. They put him in there. And we all know the reason why they put him in there. Because they couldn't stomach themselves, the racist country couldn't stomach themselves, putting a qualified black woman in the White House. So unfortunately, the American people, and we all have to suffer behind the racists of this country. The racists of this country. And that's my comment, Reverend Al.
All right. Well, I appreciate your comment. Thank you. Keep me in your prayers. Let me go to my break. I will be right back. More of you on the phone. Should the Democrats cave? You may want to say something also about Jamaica, many of our people in Jamaica, and whatever else is on your mind. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And Ladybug 77, she said the joke's not on me. I voted for blue, Kamala. And a lot of folks that voted red is getting I guess what they asked for, they got Trump. They should have known what was coming with that package. Let's take a break. Be right back.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
Racial discord, a blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I
a race
had to
baiter.
learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, the Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor stayed right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them. Now he's one of them, perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because Reverend Al Sharpton. Let's go right back to the phones. Let's go to Buffalo, New York to Bob. Bob, you keeping it real with Al Sharpton. Is Bob there?
Talking to you, you can hear me. Blessed love. Can you hear me, sir?
I do hear you, yes.
Thank you for all that you do. There's so much things to say. I think one of the things the Democrats cannot give evil an opening. We've already given evil a wide berth already, but they cannot give up on this struggle right now. And I think they need to do something to try to eliminate or address voter suppression. And I think the best way to do that is by establishing universal automatic voter registration for everyone as soon as they turn 18, so that we can increase the participation in this so-called participatory democracy. That's first. Second of all, I think Trump's move for getting the Peace Prize set the Palestinians up for destruction, because there's no way that Hamas or the Palestinians will disarm to the satisfaction of Israel or the United States. And they're already attacking Gaza right now, and there's very little talk about what's going on in the West Bank. So I think people...
Yeah, I think you raise a very important issue there, Bob. I think that I obviously watch the news night and day, being that I host a TV show and radio show, so I have to stay on top of everything. And I have been one to notice how they have totally kind of shifted away from any reports of what's going on in Gaza, though we get some hints here and there that there's still been some killing going on. not at the broad level it was, but there's been some casualties. And I think that the spotlight needs to be put back on. If the ceasefire was working, there'd be no casualties. And if the ceasefire was working, then why aren't we going to phase two, which deals with Palestinian nationhood and how that is going to be, who's going to be in charge, and how we deal with that. They're not even talking about going to phase two, which is a concession that they've really not been successful to the degree that they wanted to with phase one.
The part of phase two that they're not going to be able to accomplish is having the Palestinians disarmed to their satisfaction. They're not going to do that. And they don't even talk about what's going on in the West Bank. People are being attacked by settlers. Settlers are being armed and guarded by the Israeli Defense Force, which is a misnomer because they're not being defensive, they're attacking. Whereas here in this country, the Defense Department is being changed to the War Department. And I guess that's what they're doing when they're talking about invading Venezuela and having ships anchored in Trinidad and Tobago waiting to attack Venezuela, a whole other sovereign country.
Well, the other part of that is, I think, and I recall late last week, even some Republican senator said this, not nearly as strongly as he could and should. But I take real note of the fact that they are killing, executing people with no charges, no trial, no defense. We don't know if these people are guilty of drug trade or not, just killing them. And that's dangerous.
It seems like if they really wanted to stop it, they would. They have ships that could arrest people, search boats, prove what they have or don't have. If they wanted to do it the right way, they could. The only other thing I want to say is about the SNAP benefits. Most people talk about who's on SNAP, but they don't talk about who benefits most from SNAP.
Right.
And the people who benefit most from SNAP are the retailers and the food producers, because they've already cut into the soybean crop so that farmers have a whole year's worth of crop that they have nothing to do with just talking about soybeans, much less all the other foods that we just deport out of this country. But the people who are really going to hurt long term, are the supermarkets, because they work on the supermarkets and the farmers, because that's one of the ideas that SNAP did. It gave people something to do with the surplus food that this country produces, and gave retailers a way to service the people and get income in their own bank. So, people talk about whether it's black or white who get the most SNAPs, but the people who really benefit most are the retailers and the farmers.
The retailers, the farmers, and the retail stores like Walmart, they all benefit tremendously from this.
Yes,
You're absolutely right. Thank you for your call. O.G. Kelly is writing on our message board, Hurricane Melissa has made landfall near New Hope on Jamaica's southwestern coast as a Category 5 storm, bringing violent winds and significant risks for flash flooding from rain and storm surge. And I'm getting the same bulletins as you are, OG, and we need to really, I'm hoping to go see the Council General today or tomorrow, find out how we can most effectively help. Clearly there's going to collapse the infrastructure, and there's going to be needs for all kinds of things, from medical supplies to food. We need to be on top of that. Let's go to Brother Jacob in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Brother Jacob.
Peace be unto you, Reverend Al, and to your worldwide audience, man. Yeah, I just got a call from somebody in Jamaica. That family, their house don't even exist no more.
Wow. Already.
And,
wow.
And yes, already. The house is gone, So we pray for them, man. And like you said, they're going to need some help. We can see that. So, we can get ready because, we got to give. We're in pretty bad shape here in America, but we ain't in in that bad a shape. So
Right.
we can always do something to help. But Democrats, hold on. They want y'all to be up the river without a paddle. This is your only thing that you have to fight with. And they want y'all to give it up. And from top to bottom, they are the lioness people that I think is on the planet Earth at this time. Top to bottom. You got the president. He said he wasn't going to touch he near about destroyed the White House. He just said he wasn't going to touch it. Oh, the ballroom won't touch it. Just a lie. Just a lie. So should the Democrats believe that they're going to bargain with them when they open the government up and then they have nothing to bargain with? No, they're going to lie just like their leader, right? So no, hold on to it and just keep pumping the fact that they run the House and the Senate, and if they wanted to get this thing open, he lied about America First, Reverend Al. America First, America First. Well, you mean to tell me you gave $30 or $40 billion to, what was that, Argentina?
Argentina,
Where
yeah.
his boy was, yeah. And then you won't help your own people here with SNAP? You tell them, like the Marie Antoinette and them, let them eat cake, huh?
Right.
Right? And you say America first. The hypocrisy that these people, expect for the American people to eat. And if we eat it, we need to get what they're going to put on us.
Yeah.
But I believe even his people, Reverend Al, are waking up and seeing that they voted for the wrong person, period.
I think I'm starting. Thank you for your call. I think some people are beginning to see that. I'm seeing little things in media because I dig deep and get into some of the local media in some of these red states, and there's some complaints. You cannot get a guy or lady to lie about they don't have any food in the house and they got to go to a food pantry. And these are people that are proud and they got to get in line at a food pantry. Something about that, even Trump's charisma or whatever they think he has, is not going to be able to overcome that. And I think that that's where we are. George in Washington, D.C., you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Reverend Al Sharpton, I want to just say thank you for what you do and how you conduct yourself and how you feed up information throughout your time. And I just want to say thank you before I ask you a question. So I just want to say thank you for what you do for us, and we love you and we appreciate your work ethic.
Thank you
so much. So I was just wanting to just try to put in a question and see how we can respond. Is that as a solution, solution is, we know that what the Republican is doing and what the president could be adding with that as well. But in terms of could they use the microphone, the public microphone they have, and show what we're going to do next as solution in terms of not Congress going to do, but as leaders in our country, how we're going to create partnership, private-public partnership with other entities to make sure that our community get the things they need. So,
well, let me take my break, and I'll answer you on the other side of the break. Thank you for your call. 1-877-532-5797, Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich Newton for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are
is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are, because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president. But we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this. The only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, Everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
It's been a long time coming, but I know
1968, Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
They can't kill the dreamer.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you're very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to know,
yeah, right?
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. And let me say, during the commercial about Ben Crump, I hope many of you watched Politics Nation on Sunday night when I had on Pamela Diaz and attorney Ben Crump about the film they have out on Netflix called The Perfect Neighbor. This is the story of a black woman who knocked on the door of a white female and asked her why she had used racist and derogatory language at her children, telling them to shut up and calling them names. The woman shot through the door and killed her. And they did this whole Netflix film. It's on now on Netflix. I went down, preached a eulogy, and Nan helped with the funeral. I want y'all to see this. And they also have a movie coming out on the 28th of this month in AMC theaters on the police killing of a young man here in New York, Sean Bell, who was shot at 53 times, hit, I think, 40 some odd times. On the night of his bachelor's party, just left his bachelor's party, two friends, they pulled him over, said they thought they had guns, and just unloaded on them. 3 policemen, 2 of them black. And he was to be married the next morning. They're doing that whole story. And on that movie, that'll be in the AMC theaters on the 28th of November. And Richard Lawson, the longtime actor, many of you know him, he was married to Beyonce's mother for a while. He plays me in the film. And I'm not saying it because of me in the film or because I did the eulogy in the other one. These are the kinds of movies and documentaries that we ought to be encouraging our neighbors, our friends, our children, our grandchildren to watch, because people think that these days are over. I think that, well, let me just say this: Michelle Cooks is saying on. All right, you got it up now. Michelle Cooks is saying on our message page, saw the documentary on Netflix. It's riveting. I live near Ocala. This is where it happened, and never saw most of the body cam footage on the local news. Well, they have the body cam footage there in the film. And what I was getting ready to say is, a lot of people say to me as I travel, Reverend Al, I saw the documentary on you that's still on Showtime called Loudmouth. You still go to Showtime and see it. And, man, that's something what y'all went through back in the day. And I said, back in the day? We still in the day. Go see Netflix. This just happened in Florida. Sean Bell wasn't in the 80s. That was just a few years ago. George Floyd 5 years ago. We delude ourselves into thinking that's back there then. That's why people like Trump get in. Because we go to sleep when we just get a little bit. Let's go to Alicia in Seattle, Washington. Alicia, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine. I was calling about the shutdown. As far as I'm concerned, let them shut it all down. If black people don't have nothing, if black people are suffering in this country, if they don't have a formula for black people, let everybody do without. See, because they've been playing black people for years, doing for everybody else that comes here to this country. They got a formula for them. Shut these hotels down, shut this free food, these free clothes, get everybody off of Medicare and Medicaid. Let everybody suffer until they pay black people reparations.
All right, thank you
Have
for
a
your
nice
call.
day.
Thank you for your call. I don't know how letting everybody suffer and shutting down everything is going to get us reparations. But I say keep it real. You talk about how you feel. But I'm always going to tell you how I feel. I think that we must put pressure on for reparations, but I don't think shutting down everybody and everybody suffering, everybody losing their jobs and all that is going to get us reparations. It's not even going to get us support. One of the things I think, and I'll say this, I think that those of us that are serious about getting some things done is that we need to present it in a way that we get things done. But just as frustrated as we can get and angry as we can get, and I certainly have high levels of frustration and anger because I'm on the front line, you got to ask yourself, do I want to get something done or do I just want to unload my fury? And I learned that nobody cares if I was mad. They care if I do things that make their things uncomfortable, and therefore they have to solve my things. Let's go to George in Washington, D.C. George.
We just lost George.
Oh, we lost George. All right. Let's go to Demetrius in Cleveland, Ohio. Demetrius.
Hey, thank you, Reverend Sharpton. Always nice talking to you. First of all, I just want to speak concerning the federal monitors that Donald Trump want to send to California. I believe, those monitors, most likely, they probably want, if they're not getting paid, they probably just be people there who getting promised to receive some type of compensation, or there's some people out of the community, sent there just to intimidate the voters. So even though there's going to be shut down and most federal workers not getting paid, I believe those people who will be there is someone sort of like the deputy. They used to deputize anybody to go in a posse to look for someone. With the sheriff, I believe just some people they're going to pick out randomly who they know is going to try to intimidate people at the polls. And to me, that's outrageous. That's going back to a time when intimidation was used, to dissuade black people and other people from voting. That seemed to be dealing with this administration. They want to turn the clock back to that time when some people didn't have the right to vote or were terrorized not to vote. And it's just outlandish that someone in office, you have the mindset that want to stop the progress of a group of people, from moving up the social ladder and moving up the economic ladder. And it also brings me to mind what's going on in the state of Indiana. They wanted the gerrymandering, just like what happened in Texas. So hopefully, the country be aware of that, and put pressure on their government, not to legitimize criminality and redistricting.
Well, thank you for your call. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Let me say this, Demetrius. I think that I am concerned about provocation and tricks they will play at the polls. But I put it in a historic context. They used to bar us from voting at all. Then they went into these superficial tests. You had to guess how many jelly beans was in a jar and silliness like that to deny us the right to vote. Then they went and outright had the Klan riot and burn down voting facilities, killed Jimmy Lee Jackson in Marion, Alabama. That's one of the things that led to the Selma March in '65. So if we could go through all of that, we should be able to go through some diversions next Tuesday. And we need to understand that, they're always going to be opposition. Change is not made by how strong or tricky the opposition is. Change is made by how strong and focused and disciplined we are. Stay with me, Demetrius. I'm going to hold you over. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. 1-877-532-5797. Be right back.
Who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you're very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They called me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that called me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, the Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them. Now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
democracy. That's what it is. What Trump will erase, we will replace.
Is the dreamers in many cases have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
It's been a long time coming, but I know
1968, Dr. Martin King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
Because I have a dream today.
When it came to the dream. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that Reverend Al Sharpton. Let's go back to Demetrius. Go ahead, Demetrius.
Yeah, thank you, Reverend Sharpton. I'll be brief. Yeah, because like I was thinking, when they have the federal agents there, the intimidation could take different type of forms. They could be, when they checking IDs, they can come in a real intimidating fashion, like they threaten to speaking to the people in line in a rough way, and that persuades some people not even want to stand in line to vote, or they might hear what's happening and they won't even go to the polls. So when they have someone there monitoring with that type of behavior, those are tactics that's been used, for years and years. That's why people who are there, they should be screened. If they're not paid federal workers, they shouldn't be at the polls at all. They should just be the ones who's been previously assigned to work at the polls. There should be no.
Yeah, well, I think it is a clear sign of attempt to intimidate, because what they're trying to do is make people say, "Oh, it could be some mess. I ain't going to vote." Then if you are Latino or look Latino, or they may throw me against the wall to see if I was here illegally, and even though I'm not, they've been holding people some 2 and 3 days to prove that they're not. I mean, all of this hurts voter turnout. That's their intent. But that is why I'm on there every day saying we've got to be stronger than them, and whatever they come with, be ready to deal with it. Now, I like what Governor Gavin Newsom of California said. He's going to have state troopers there to watch the federal monitors, to stop them from intimidating, and every governor ought to do that.
Yeah, I agree. So that's what it's going to take, and hopefully the officers there that's sent by the governor, they will be non-partial and enforce the law.
Absolutely.
Don't let them get away with it, like what happened with January 6th. When Donald Trump was deposed when Biden took office. And lastly, I would just like to say concerning the shutdown, I just hope both parties, the Democrat and the Republicans, don't overlook, the working class, especially the poor, because the senator them may not have went to the polls. So I hope they don't feel like we'll sacrifice them because they're not a strong participating voting bloc, because they depend on this country as well, for their well-being and for their protection.
Right.
As well as they are citizens and they're human beings. Okay, thank you, Reverend Sharpton.
All right, thank you for your call. Michelle Cooks says on our message board, yep, won't allow water to be given to people in lines at the polls. Yeah, you remember they came with that in Georgia last time. This is not a joke. But when you ask yourself, why are they doing all this? It shows you the power of the vote. They would not be doing all this if they were not afraid of your use of the vote. Let's go to Disco Brian in Philadelphia. Disco Brian, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Reverend Sharpton, thank you again. It's an honor to be followed by Demetrius. And I want Antoine Seawright to know, if he's listening today, how grateful I am for his moral clarity yesterday regarding the need for us all to coalesce and support the Democratic candidate. And also, Rev, you also said yesterday that you invite and want voices like mine to hold leaders accountable. And I want to be very clear to you and everyone that I support you, Leader Jeffries, Spike Lee, and anybody that y'all get down with should you decide to endorse Mamdani with them. And I want Mamdani to be the leader he has the potential to be, Rev. But when I see him or anyone evading serious questions about their statements, their pictures with kill the gay politicians in Uganda, or their clear overtures to or alliances with the white right manosphere like Andrew Schultz of Flagrant, who Mamdani sat down with a couple days ago, and his bros, 3 other guys, and they just laughed it up and yucked it up, and there he was breaking bread with a guy who voted for Trump proudly. And I don't see anyone with a platform holding him or anyone like that accountable about any of it. Rev, I'm wondering, I'm what I'm supposed to do, because I feel helpless, hopeless, and I do not want these DSA, anti-Kamala, Bernie bro Dems taking over the Democratic Party. So, Rev, with that, I'm wondering, have you scheduled that dialogue with the brilliant, angelic Karine Jean-Pierre about her new book, Independent?
I think we've reached out to her to come on either this weekend or next weekend. Karine and I worked very closely together before she was in the White House as Biden secretary and after. And but the staff at the show, I give them a list of who I want on, and she's on the list, and I'm sure they've reached out. I know that this weekend, given the elections coming up and the hurricane, we may have to do her the following week. But I know she's going to be on. She, in fact, sent me the book. I have it sitting right here on my desk.
Rev, I can't wait. Prayers, all time, big time prayers to that righteous nation of Jamaica. But Rev, I would love. I mean, that'll give you time. I'd love for you to watch a couple of those interviews, the one with Colbert and Tim Miller, and just this weekend, her interview with Ayman, the guy who comes on after you on MSNBC, and then compare those interviews to her interview with a black woman who co-hosts Morning Edition, Michelle Martin. And the contrast, Rev, is painful but revealing. Michelle
In what way?
Well, I'll tell you, Michelle listens to her. She treats Karine with dignity, whereas all those dudes I mentioned who've interviewed her so far that I've seen, be they white or Muslim, have done the opposite. They talk at her, not with her. Tim Miller can't keep his eyes on her. She keeps her eyes on him the entire time. He's looking off in the distance and huffing and puffing and waiting to get his point in. And then they blame her personally for what they see as Biden's failures, and completely ignore every reminder she offers to remind them just how excellent the Biden-Harris administration was, obviously compared to what we have, but even historically. So, Rev, it's long past time a man in media give Karine the respect she deserves, because she is standing in the crossfire of a coordinated outrage machine that now spans both the far left and far right. And Rev, there's a fusion where today's propaganda war lives, and it's not on Fox News and between Fox News and Newsmax. It's between the massive influencers online merging the populist left and right into one big anti-democracy chorus. Rev, do you know Crystal Ball and Emily Jahinsky? Do you know those media figures?
No.
Okay, so Crystal went on Bill Maher to proclaim
Wait a minute. Hold 1 minute. Hold on. I'm going to hold you over. We'll take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. the cases have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
It's been a long time coming, but I know
1968, Dr. Martin King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
They can't kill the dreamer. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president. But we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm gonna keep marching, I'm gonna keep agitating, and I'm gonna keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie known you a long time, Mariah, Chris and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again. Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited to turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you, and if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. Evangelist Ramsey, one of the great organizer activists in New York, says, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. Jeremiah 3:15 states that I will give you shepherds after my own heart, who will lead you with knowledge and understanding. Thank you, shepherd, for all that you give out, and may the good Lord renew your strength and give you and your house. And I appreciate that. I need all the prayers I can get, and somebody that I know can get a prayer through, like Evangelist Ramsey. I appreciate it. Let me say this, and I'm going back to you, Disco Brian. Let me say this by way of announcements. Don't forget, I'm already working on this weekend assignment. I really, really, really want to deal with this whole question of the elections. What is good? The referendum in California is so important. The redistricting, if they win that, it will back the Republicans up around the country, and we'll have certainly go in depth on that. I certainly am going to ask everybody then to watch Politics Nation both nights, Saturday and Sunday, between the elections, between where we are with the shutdown, and between Hurricane Melissa devastating the Caribbean. You really going to want to watch where we come from and the right people that I'm going to be working on to get on. Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. And, of course, you that are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut vicinity, meet us or beat us to the Saturday Action Rally Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice in Harlem, 145th Street, Lenox Avenue. You that are not there can watch it live on Impact Television or at nationalactionnetwork.net. All right, let me go back to you, Brian. You asked me about some journalists.
Rev, I guess let's pick up here. Anybody that's been in media for a decade and hasn't had you on their platform or hasn't sought out to talk to you, I can't help but look at with I can't take them seriously if they're claiming to be for justice. I just can't. So anyway, Crystal Ball and Emily Jahinsky, okay? Crystal cut her teeth, her media teeth at MSNBC a decade ago as co-host of a show back in 2013-14 called The Cycle, Ari Melber's first show. They co-hosted with two others. Toure was one of them as well.
I remember Crystal Ball, yeah. But I've not done
Right. Now, Rev, right. No, she wouldn't invite you on, Rev. She's not really that fond of black people that don't love or worship Bernie Sanders. Back then, she was a Hillary liberal. But today, as she told Bill Maher back in 2022, she's a Bernie Sanders leftist. That's what she called herself. Now, Emily is a Christian nationalist who wrote for a newspaper called The Federalist. How does that sound, Rev? They teamed up together just, I think, yesterday for a segment I just watched before you. They uploaded on YouTube called Karine Jean-Pierre Finally Confronted on Gaza Crimes. Now, Rev, these two populist white women spend 15 minutes besmirching KJP and everything she represents, competence, grace, and service. And it is appalling for me as a white man to watch two white women spend 15 minutes saying basically that KJP is nothing but a DEI hire, and they even went further and also strongly insinuated Kamala Harris is also a DEI hire in this segment. Please don't take my word for it. Have a look at it. Rev, not enough people in media have been focusing on this whole left-right populist pipeline that was built inside a publication called The Hill by two Republican power brokers, one named Jimmy Finkelstein, who I believe was married to somebody within the Trump orbit, and that was the Trump donor owner at the time of The Hill. By the way, Rev, that same publication, The Hill, guess who purchased it from Jimmy Finkelstein?
Who?
Nexstar. Remember Nexstar that wouldn't play Jimmy Kimmel?
Yep, very much so, yes.
And then there's this other guy named John Solomon, the executive producer, who later got caught spreading Ukraine disinformation to help Rudy Giuliani attack Joe Biden. So that's who bankrolled Rising, the show that launched Crystal Ball and Tucker Carlson's protege, Sagar Enjeti. And then now they do a break-off show called Breaking Points. And ever since, Rev, that same pipeline has pushed the same talking points as the white right manosphere, which is this. Genocide Joe from Code Pink and DSA, mirrored by Kamala Harris is awful. She's so uncharismatic. And, of course, I'm quoting Hassan Piker and Tucker Carlson, and Joe Rogan, all of whom piled on to humiliate Kamala Harris. It's the same script, Rev. Anti-woman, anti-black, anti-pluralist, and anti-Democratic Party. And Rev, in closing, the bigger picture that you and your brilliant audience have been talking about all day, you remember when Trump said, "I alone can fix it," Rev, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so Trump has aligned himself with Putin, Xi, Kim, Orban, and those guys are using him as the tool to destroy America to prove that only he can make deals to bring peace. So the plan, as I see it, is for Trump and Xi to make a deal on tariffs to send the stock market soaring, to get all the finance and crypto bros dancing in the street, and to prove all of us wrong, Rev, to prove Kamala wrong and you wrong and me wrong, and to spin Trump's deal with the autocratic world as heroic. Rev, I hope everybody remembers one thing that I don't find coincidental, and I don't know if you do, Rev, but you remember the day that Putin's birthday, right? He's a Libra like us, Rev. You remember which day is his birthday, right?
Putin's birthday?
Yeah, Putin's birthday. You know what day it is, right, Rev?
No, I do not.
Okay. What's the most infamous day in October in recent history?
What, Halloween?
No, recent history, Rev. October 7th is Putin's birthday.
Oh,
so
really?
What happened on October 7th, Rev? Where were the world's eyes before October 7th, 2023? Do you remember?
Before that, I don't know where they were, but since then, I do know where they were.
And before then, it was Ukraine, right? Where a Jewish-Muslim alliance against genocide being waged by Putin was working. Remember, President Zelensky is Jewish, and who did he appoint as his second in command? A Muslim by the name of Rustem Umerov. He's the deputy minister of defense. So Ukraine showed the world that cooperation between Jews and Muslims against fascism is possible, but what do we learn from Israel-Palestine? We learned that Jews and Muslims can't coexist, and that democracy itself is failing, and that only a strong man like Trump or Bibi or the Qatari prince can fix it. So you can already see the setup, Rev. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'd love to hear any of your thoughts on any of this.
All right, thank you for your call, and that's very interesting. Very interesting. You have to forgive me for not knowing Putin's birthday. Let me go to Andre J. in Chicago. Andre J., you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yeah, well, that was a pretty long tirade. So I'm gonna answer your question. Your question was, do we think Democrats should stay the course? And Disco, he always goes on this roundabout way, and he don't answer the question. I don't know what his motive is, but I mean, you can handle him. You man enough to handle the commentary. So yeah, the Democrats should stay the course. And the reasons I think that the Democrats should stay the course is because the Republicans knew what they're doing when they wrote up that bill in the first place. They didn't have bipartisan support. So they knew what they were doing. So the Democrats should not give in. They should just stay the course, even though some people suffer time. And what Hakeem Jeffries and the rest of the Democratic leaders should do is to highlight the fact that Mike Johnson is an election denier. He filed an amicus brief. That's what he did. So they should say, well, if he lied about the election, he's election denied, then he's lying about health care when he says that
you talking about he lied about the election of Donald Trump and Biden?
That's what Mike Johnson did, because he filed an amicus.
Now, I want you to be clear on what election you're talking about. People don't know when you say he filed an amicus brief on the election. You got to tell them what election you are referring to. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Reverend. The election between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, in which Joe Biden won. Mike Johnson filed an amicus brief to deny that election. So it's worth stressing the point that if he lied about that, then he's lying about these immigrants. This bill is giving free Medicare to immigrants, because that's the lie that they've been pushing. That's the first thing. Next thing, Reverend, I believe that the Democrats, if possible, should call for hearings on this $3 million ballroom. Find out where is the money going to. We know it came from, he says, some private donors, but what entity did they put the money in? Did they put it in Donald Trump's campaign war chest? Did he pay taxes on the money? Exactly where this money come from, because it could be some money laundering going on with that. And the Democrats should call for an investigation and see that Donald Trump.
Well, it's not 3 million. It's 30 million. 300 million. I'm sorry. It's 300 million.
300 million. And so
hold it 1 minute. Let me take my break. I'll be right back. I'll bring you over. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, the call-in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
One, two, three, I got the feeling. Hey, baby, baby, I got the feeling. Oh, I got that feeling, yeah. Hey, hey, got that feeling, y'all. Come on. Feeling, baby. Oh, I got the feeling, y'all. Can you put your hands together? I got the feeling. Oh, won't you say, baby, baby, I got that. Come on, Thank you so much. My name is True Osborne. Humbled and honored.
All right. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. You know, every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors. But there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughters started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Let me go back to Andre J. in Chicago.
Hello, Rev.
Yeah, you go ahead. You were talking.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I just wanted to reiterate. I say the Democrats should stay the course. I say they should call for investigation into the money coming for that ballroom and see where the money's going, where it's come from, if it's going to his campaign chest or whatever. Rev, people call and they often say that the people that voted for Trump, they refer to them as the Trump voters. But I think they need to be more specific and talk about the white people that voted for Donald Trump, because they put him in there. And my personal belief is that they was looking for the great white hope. They thought he was going to address their xenophobic and racist views, so they voted for him. It had nothing to do with policy necessarily, the way they voted for him. Lastly, Rev, I want to say to the caller, Disco Bryant, he referred to people as being half-baked. He called people half-baked. And then he say, I'm down with whoever y'all down with. So all I say, Rev, is just, look at them shiny pieces of silver. Don't take everything face value. You were smart, you're intelligent. I've been listening to you for years, but I haven't been listening to Disco Bryant for years. So I really haven't figured out what Disco Bryant's angle is just yet, because he has an awful lot to say about an awful lot of people, and I don't know where he stands. I don't know if he's Democrat, Republican, a communist. I don't know what Disco Bryant is. But he comes and he calls and he says these things, and we got an obligation to protect Reverend Sharpton. We can't let him fall by the wayside on somebody else's ulterior motive. Thank you, Rev, and I'll sit back and copy the mail.
All right, thank you for your call, as always, Andre. Jay, let me go to Miss Richardson, my friend in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Miss Richardson.
Yes, good afternoon, Rev.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, you sound boss. I'm telling you, you sound right on it. You're our God now, Rev. Without you, I don't know what we'd do. We'd go berserk and crazy because you offer a bit of light and hope. Especially to our old folks, because I tell you, the young people have gone haywire. I think we've lost another generation, unfortunately, Rev. The children are into things that is ungodly. They're listening to a bunch of crap that's filth. These rap video people just continue on FM radio, disgracing the black race. But what I wanted to say about the Johnson and Schumer, this should go down as a charade in history, a charade under Trump, the Trump charade, the circus. And I think it'll go down in history in the books, unless Trump has, because, he's mustered up enough power to be a king from the three entities of the government, and they're agreeing with them. And, and that other, my daughter said the legislative part. My daughter had to help me with the word. I couldn't get it out on your show the other day. The judicial, the legislative, and what's that other branch, Reb? The
judicial, legislative, and executive.
Yeah, dear, yeah. And so I couldn't get it out the other day. I had things on my mind anyway, because you see, we're in a turmoil situation. Because see, Saturday, all of the people won't be helped to get food for their children. And I just don't see a government allowing one man to demonstrate such evil. I simply cannot get over it. How the government is agreeing, they have ordained him, or as far as I'm concerned, the government has ordained this man king, like King Charles in England. And it's scary because I don't think he's ruled out the third term, but he has said something to it that, I don't know whether he's saying clearly he's not going to run as president again, but I think he's still got the door open, and I'm glad to see Kamala keeping it open for her, where she doesn't feel that she's not saying she's not going to run, so that's good. And because I like to see a woman president. The men has been in there, I don't know how many hundreds of years, but they've had their day. It's a lady president that we need, because I think the woman would avoid wars. See, women are more, oriented that way. They were brought up to take care of their children and relatives and kinfolk over man. And so I think if a woman president got in there, she would demonstrate this. She wouldn't be doing what Trump is trying to steer the whole world into a third world war, because he's initially trying to disguise himself. He's the great deceiver and the great disguiser. And he does these things deliberate to scare everybody out of their wits. And but Schumer and Johnson, both as far as Mrs. Richardson concerned, they demonstrate nothing but a circus. They've demonstrated, both of them. I'm not going to blame one. It's both. Democrat and Republican showing their AS, you know what the rest of the letters are read. That's all they're doing. They're showing their backside to the nation. And if they don't come to because already the premiums on people's insurance are going to triple, and they quadruple if Schumer or Johnson doesn't have something rattle in their brain to get the government back open, because both of them are demonstrating nothing but really, to me, just stupidity. That they should have came to agreement for some 30 days. This is almost 30 a month, Rev. We're talking about a month.
And there's no end in sight. I think you
No
are
end in
absolutely
sight.
right. Well, we need to keep the pressure on. Thank you for your call. Got a lot of callers, Miss
All
Rich.
right.
Let me bring in our co-host the last hour every Tuesday at this hour. He is, of course, the senior pastor of the First Corinthian Baptist Church at Harlem, member of the National Board of National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Michael A. Walron. How you doing, Reverend?
Pretty good, Reverend Sharpton. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Let me ask you, one of the things I think that we are missing in this discussion about the shutdown, we talk about the politics of it in terms of clearly the Democrats are saying they're going to hold out until they get the premium guarantees on the premiums in terms of the Affordable Care Act. Republicans are saying they're not going to do any bargaining until they open the government. We get the politics of it. SNAP, people's food assistance, will run out this weekend, Saturday. What we've not heard is the moral side of this. And I was waiting on you to come on because I really think that the moral dimensions of purposely letting people go with less food and some no food, some people not be paid, meaning they cannot pay their bills. We're going in the second pay week. No one is talking about how we value or not value the worth of people. Talk about your moral analysis of this shutdown and the implications.
Well, the moment is morally reprehensible in many ways, Reverend. I think that we're in a moment where every political move is a zero-sum game. I think we're in a political moment where the things that are at the heart of democracy, which is conversation, persuasion, compromise, have been gone. The mentality is now, if it's not our way, it is not if it is not our way, or it's not our way, it's no way, it's not our way, then we make demons and enemies out of everyone else, and we try to weaponize the power we have to undermine, attack, and assault those who we make enemies. I mean, this is a very dangerous time politically. We've seen it not only by the mounting political violence, but by the violence that is breaking out in our cities against federal government with regard to ICE and immigration authorities. I mean, we can call the roll what is happening right now. This is a moment where dehumanization is a top priority for a lot of the federal government. This is why you see people seemingly unmoved by the possibility that persons will grow hungry in the next several weeks, losing benefits, people not getting checks, human suffering abounds, and yet we are talking politics. So whether it is Republican or Democrat, I think there's a moral gap, a void that exists where we're no longer moved by constituents or what is decent or what is good, but now it's about power and how to exercise power and how to use your power to pulverize your enemies.
And you know, it reminds me of the scripture, you and I both are ministers, wickedness in high places. To know that you were coming upon the brink of a government shutdown, which means at its best, people are going to be late taking care of their bills. At its worst, people will have to do whatever they can, go to food banks and other places. And you use that as the time you're going to start tearing down the east wing of the White House and build you a ballroom. I mean,
right?
It's like a contempt for just people. I'm gonna put it in your face. He could have done that at any point. He knew this countdown, was going to happen, and he decided I'm gonna roll this out now anyhow. Then bulldozers could have waited till the shutdown was over. But it's almost like I want y'all to understand that I'm going to go as far as I can go until y'all stop me.
Yeah, I have the power and I have the government purse at my disposal, and I'm going to do what I want to do. And he's completely immune to anyone's heartache or pain or struggle or suffering. He doesn't care. But he's an elitist in many ways. As I said when Rev, he took office before, that this is really the Gilded Age 2.0 really right now, where the wealthy are obscenely wealthy. The divide between what we historically call haves and have-nots has grown. The income gap has grown. I mean, you can name it, Rev. It is happening. Poverty is high up right now. I mean, it's a sad time. But again, in the midst of it, the elites historically, when you think about the Gilded Age and what Trump is doing, do not care. And so all that matters is power, exercise of power, and then fulfilling the whims and desires of not just himself, but those who are pulling the strings. It is a morally reprehensible moment politically and socially in this culture, in our country, and the climate is dangerous, Rev.
Absolutely dangerous and frightening. Let me get ready to go to the phones. Let me take a break, and I'll go right to the phones. 1-877-532-5732. 532 5797 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, Warren, keeping it real. Be right back.
Who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me, and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They called me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
a race baiter. Yeah, right. I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are, and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, the Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor, who stayed right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
And tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
It's been a long time coming, but I know.
1968, Dr. Martin King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Reverend Dr. Michael A. Walron is our co-host. As we look, Dr. Walron, at the coming hurricane, Melissa, in Jamaica, that is all but guaranteed to destroy a lot of the infrastructure and cause damage and death there, probably Cuba as well, and Haiti. There will be, of course, the cries for some, and certainly we'll be among them, to do what we can to help repair the damage and provide food and other things for the countries that are affected. But all of this is in the atmosphere of the rise of certain autocracies or autocratic behavior patterns of this president, because I haven't even heard this administration really say a whole lot about this hurricane.
No. Well, I mean, it tracks for this administration, especially when you think about language that the president has used to refer to some countries and places that are black, considered predominantly black. So this kind of neglect and dismissiveness doesn't surprise me. Again, it tracks for this administration. And I think it's sad because, you know, I'm West Indian as well, from Barbados, but many of these islands don't have the infrastructure nor the resources to really do well in these kinds of environments. And this is a historic storm, which is going to wreak a lot of havoc. Even now, it's been tracking and watching it, and how the western part of Jamaica is being pummeled. And the other, like the more eastern part, is experiencing, like, you know, heavy storms and tropical storm feeling. But either way, a lot of people are going to lose possibly homes, and hopefully the loss of life is none, if a minimum at best. But it's sad because a lot of these institutions who want to do good work, if you think about how much of the federal cuts that are taking place, and sometimes there were different institutions that this government contributed to help people in need, and that has diminished. So it's just a sad time all around when our country cannot be looked upon as a beacon. Even in the worst times, there were still those who looked at America as a particular beacon of hope, opportunity, light, and that beacon is dimmed, Rev, dimming fastly.
Let's go to Diana in Richmond, Virginia. Diana, you keeping it real with Sharpton and Walron.
My heart goes out to Jamaica also. I remember when I was not homeless, but I couldn't pay my light bill, my water bill, didn't have no food, but I just gave it to God, and I'm just praying that they stay safe. And just give it to God. He put no more on you than you could bear, because I went through something similar to what they're going through. But what I'm calling you in reference to is the Secretary of Defense, Pete Haystack. They flying a B-12 bomber near Venezuela to combat alleged drug smugglers. Come on now. They really over there for that oil, because Venezuela, excuse me, from my understanding, is the world's largest proven oil reserve. So Russia wants to take control of that. And that's what our military really needs to look at. Anything Donald Trump is going to benefit Putin. It's not going to benefit the United States, because he's out to conquer and destroy us. That's the bottom line with that. So that's why the defense secretary is having that bomb go over there. And with that being said, we have all these tobacco and vape stores in the United States. And I called in before a couple of months ago in reference to the tobacco and vape stores selling all these illegal products, and our kids are going crazy. My daughter just went to her homecoming last weekend at North. Well, I don't want to put the school out there. And she said that excuse me, but she said, Mom, I had to leave because they was doing so much vaping and smoking and inhaling that stuff. You know, she just couldn't take it, so she had to leave her homecoming because of all what was going on. So we really need to take a look at that. And then secondly, Donald Trump talking about he said I have the right to do anything I want because he's the president. He has the right to do whatever. First of all, you cannot declare war. From my understanding, the legislature, the executive branches, and everything like that, Donald Trump does not to be a one-man show as he claiming to be, that he could declare war. And then, you know, and because we don't need an emperor, a king, or a dictator, you know, and what he has done to the East Wing, you know, I feel like this. I checked on my computer, and it's 44.1 registered Democratic voters. And I feel like if we get together and everybody give $5 or something of that nature, we could tear down that ballroom. We don't need that ballroom. And I'm just appalled that this historical building, the White House, that represent the freedom of the United States, and that Statue of Liberty, you know, embrace immigrants coming into this country to a safe haven. This is no longer a safe haven. So I feel like we need to knock down that soon he build it, and we get the Democratic people get the control back, knock it down. I don't care if it costs $1 billion. We need to rebuild the East Wing, a replicant. I know it's not going to be the original one, but it's going to be a replicant to let him know you are not going to bully us. He's a big bully. But with this situation going on in Venezuela, and we got all this war, drugs in the United States, these kids were having mental health issues from vaping, and that's illegal. They have more stores than ever. We need to really take a look at what Donald Trump is doing, just like Gaza. He went over there talking about he wanted the Nobel Peace Prize. He got what he wanted. When he sent Jared Kushner over there and talking about he's assisting with the hostages release, no, they went over there to survey that Gaza land, and they got it. And then what they doing, bulldozer, and they running away with building his kingdom over there. But Donald Trump, we're going to turn your kingdom down. So
I hear you. Thank you for your call. Let's take a break. Sharpton, Walron, be right back.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me, and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn. I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, was a sellout or racial hustling or I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, the Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
Reverend Dr. Michael A. Walron is our co-host. Let me remind you that are listening around the country, do not forget Watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday and Sunday. And certainly last Saturday and Sunday we had two great shows. In fact, got the ratings today. You really tuned in, beat CNN both nights in terms of ratings. You know, the whole TV world goes by ratings. But we had Hakeem Jeffries on, and we had the mother of A.J. Owens on this new movie they've done on Netflix about called The Perfect Neighbor, where a white woman shot and killed her daughter through the door. We had Ben Crump on. We had Mikey Sherrill, who is the Democratic candidate for governor in New Jersey, on and on and on. And I'm going to have much more on that level this weekend because it's the weekend before Election Day. So you know I'm going to have those major figures on, as well as dealing with this hurricane and the damage and what we must do in and for the people of Jamaica, Cuba, and and Haiti. And I think it will probably impact most of the Caribbean, the way the veracity this seems that this hurricane is coming in at a hurricane 5. That's enormous. And they say it's moving slow, so it will penetrate for a while. So make sure you watch Politics Nation live at 5 Saturday and Sunday on MSNBC. Then be at the Saturday rally if you're in the New York and vicinity area at 9 to 11, at 9 to 11 at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Saturday. It'll be the Saturday before the election, and certainly candidates are expected, and I want you to be there, and I want you to, that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television, or you can watch it at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Reverend Walron, what's going on at FCBC?
Right, we just finished celebrating our Pink Sunday for breast cancer awareness. It was an amazing weekend of activities and events. And Saturday was particularly, we had a wellness day, wellness fair, and I know you're part of the leadership of Choose Healthy Life. We did our Blueprint for Wellness again. We had about 150 people who were screened for the Blueprint for Wellness. So
wow, that's great.
It was really good. It was really a good weekend, a great celebration. We had all the survivors come on stage, and they did this special line dance for cancer survivors. It was powerful, man.
Wow.
So it was a really great weekend of raising awareness, especially for African-American women who are more likely to develop breast cancer than white women and die at a faster rate from it. So, yeah, it was really a good time of remembrance and also awareness raising.
Let me ask you this, and I'm going back to the phones. We have an election all over the country, the referendum on the ballot in California. We've got hot governor's race in New Jersey. But you and I live in New York most of the time. I mean, we both travel a lot, but our home base is here. Your church is here. NAN's national office is here. How are you reading the mayor's race here? Because the polls at one point had Mamdani way ahead, and then now we're hearing that the first 2 days of early voting has been record-setting numbers coming out, but mostly older people. And a lot of people are saying that's going to help Cuomo. How are you reading this, or do you have a reading on it?
Yeah, I do. You know, I've told people for the last few weeks that this race is not clear-cut. You know, we learned from the primary. The primaries were saying pretty much the same thing until about a week or so before the actual election. It went even more different than people expected. I think, Rev, we know politics. We know, for example, the day of the primary was one of the hottest days of the summer. A lot of seniors did not come out that day. And I think a lot of people took the primary for granted. I think when we've seen all the media around this on both sides, for Andrew Cuomo and Mom Donnie, not to dismiss Sliwa, but for Mom Donnie and Cuomo, I think these turnout is big, and seeing that older people turn out makes sense. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I think people see this, again, as a referendum against the Democratic Party, but I think in New York City, it's about wanting someone who's experienced. If we're honest, Rev, I've spoken to people who said we had basically 12 years of a lack of experience, executive-level experience and leadership between the last two administrations. So I think that is factoring into people's decisions as well. So, Rev, I think it's a lot closer than people think.
I totally agree with you, and I wouldn't rule anything out at this point, and I
Not at
think
all.
you make great points. Let me go to Rod in Detroit, Michigan. Rod, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Walron.
He literally just hung up.
Okay, Rod hung up. You should never hang up. You never know when I'm coming to you. Let me go to Anita in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Anita.
Hi, Reverend Al.
Hi.
Reverend Walmer. Reverend
Hello.
Al, I think Miss Richardson said a wonderful thing. Where would our hope be? You keeping hope alive, Reverend Al. This is a wonderful thing. A stitch in time saves nine. That's you. Okay, I'm so excited about her saying that. You know, and I just wanted to say, keep the democracy going. Reverend Jackson did an excellent job without a script after Martin Luther King was suddenly taken away from us. And you're doing a good job. And Kamala was good for women to progress and do things and make decisions, you know, other than be, you know, fingernails and eyelashes. We're not just fingernails and eyelashes. We got to make decisions for children that make sense. And I want to tell you here that the Interfaith Council here and the CEF, Community Empowerment Fund, and Affordable Housing, they're waiting for you to come. They said you can come. You're welcome anytime. I don't know if they could afford to pay you to come here, but in Chapel Hill, we definitely need, you know, things. So they're feeding the homeless and all kind of things. And the government is really not being friendly to them. And we need you here. And we need that hope.
you know, for those kinds of things, they ain't got to pay me nothing to come. If they give me the information, we'll work it out. Because, you know, colleges or professional agencies and all pay for my lectures. When we do community work, nobody pay me. That's what I do.
Well, I don't know about expenses all the time, Reverend Al. It's expensive in America. You know that they're selling 2-bedroom
Yeah, but
apartments.
if it's helping the community, National Action Network takes care of getting me in and out of places. So just get me the information.
One more thing, Reverend Al. Remember, this is supposed to be the place where the first public university was established, the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And right now, they're experiencing a lot of homelessness, a lot of drug addiction, a lot of stuff that, you know, that Kamala was trying to avoid by saying people can have a home, and we're going to help them do some things. And we need her to speak up, and maybe she could come with you. We're waiting. I'm inviting. I'm ready.
I got you. All right. Well, let's get the information. Y'all get all the info from Anita and get it to me, and let's see what we can work out. Thank you for your call. Let me also say this, Reverend Walron. You mentioned that you have roots in the Caribbean. The whole Caribbean, I think, you know, they're saying Jamaica, they're saying Cuba, they're saying parts of Haiti. But I think this has got to impact all of the Caribbean, the islands right there, many proximity to the others.
Yeah, those that are immediate proximity to Jamaica, definitely, but not the entire. Definitely the ones that are close to Jamaica. For example, where I'm from, Barbados, is not in any harm's way because it's the most eastern of the Caribbean islands, and most hurricanes go underneath. But I think the ones, as you said, Rev, that are immediately within 100, 200 miles of Jamaica are definitely going to be impacted with winds, with rain, with tropical storm. So it's going to be tough, man, and it's going to be tough for many people. Haiti, Jamaica, Cuba, you call the roll. I think there's going to be some damage done, and it means with this damage, it means there's going to be some people suffering, Rev, and that's going to be the sad and tragic part.
No, and again, we are organizing right now to see how we can be helpful even before it reaches landfall. I certainly would be in touch with the clergy and our board members, of which you are one, on what is needed. One of the things that I try to always not do is run in and do something without talking to those there on the grounds. That's why I want to talk with the ambassador and the consul general to find out where and how we can be helpful, because sometimes what you think is helpful may not be the area they need the most assistance in.
That's true.
Let me ask you this, and I know we got to go, but do you feel that these tariffs may be negotiated in a way that resolves to protect American workers in the meetings that Xi and Trump will be having tomorrow in South Korea?
Yeah, I don't know how these meetings are going to really help protect American workers. I hear language being spoken of, but here's the reality. When you hear the president talking about bringing back jobs to this country, bringing back manufacturing, all these things he's been saying for years, it's not real. And I think people need to hear that. You're going to be expecting corporations in this country who've been outsourcing for years and maximizing their profits because of outsourcing. Now, in the name of this idea that Trump has of America to cut profits, come back, increase manufacturing jobs instead of outsourcing, where there are not regulations in many of these countries that they outsource to, that's a tall order. And is not really realistic in many ways. So when I hear these things with China's the greatest manufacturer of American goods. I mean, so it just makes me wonder when I hear the president talk this way or make these claims. It just seems like more throwing, they say red meat to his base, but now it's not just the base, it's undermining our economy and opportunities for people.
All right, we getting ready to go. I see Ladybug 77 says the eye of the hurricane is in Jamaica. That's why Jamaica is a hot topic. That's correct. The eye of the hurricane is going straight into Jamaica. Ramifications will be for other islands. Maybe not as much damage, but it will be damage. And we should all be prepared to do what we can to help. Let me thank Reverend Dr. Michael A. Walron. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Whatever you do, keep it real. I'll talk to you tomorrow.